Thank you so much, Eve. So Simon Kutcher, we will now hand over to you to give us an update from the World Mosquito Program. Nice to see you, Simon, after all these years, decades, in fact.
Exactly. Thanks, Tessa. Yeah, thanks for the invitation to be a part of the PacMOSSI annual meeting, and it's always great to be the last presenter of a 2-day workshop. So, thanks a lot. So I'll be quick because I'm sure a lot of this is relatively new, is relatively old to all of you because the World Mosquito Program has been around for a long time and has been conducting some projects in the Pacific. So I'll run through this pretty fast. So if you can skip to the next slide. We've already covered dengue, so you can skip that. We know it's a big problem. Where have we been working? We started in Australia in 2011 in Cairns and then in Townsville, and have been spreading out since then. You can see the different places where we've worked. At the moment, we've got national rollouts in Brazil and in Indonesia being undertaken by the respective ministries of health. And this year we are doing a scale up in Laos, where we're going to do the whole city of Vientiane, which is the capital. We're going to return to Kiribati to complete South Tarawa, and we're also doing a project in the city of Dili inside Timor-Leste. Okay, next project. Next slide. Next slide. So the trial that we talk about the most is the gold standard RCT that was conducted in Yogyakarta. This was finished about 5 years ago. You should all know about this. It showed that the efficacy of Wolbachia was very high and higher than the vaccines that were on the market at the time. So that was a very great result, which we're now using as a springboard to replicate in other sites. Next slide. So here's some real world results. Yogyakarta I just spoke about. You can see these interrupted time series here. The Yogyakarta one is for hospitalizations, and then the bottom two are for notified dengue cases. What you can see here is that over time you can see the dengue transmission, and then the blue is when we started to release Wolbachia, and then for Wolbachia to establish throughout the populations. And you can see there that there's a significant drop in disease transmission in Yogyakarta and in Niterói, which is the city next to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. It's about 500,000 people. And then a big one in Medellin in Colombia, which saw a reduction, a very significant reduction until some breakthrough through the outbreak of 2024. Next. So you can see here that there's these large reductions of dengue transmission, which is a real public health benefit for these large cities. And so these are all cities you can see in Northern Australia, Indonesia, and the Americas. But now I'll talk about the Pacific and what we've been able to achieve there. Next slide. The first one is New Caledonia. I see that Nadege Rossi is online. This was her project, her baby, and you can see the excellent results that Nadege and her team have been able to accomplish in Noumea. Yeah, I mean it's absolutely fantastic what's happened here, and I would ask you to ask some questions to Nadege about how she did this over the last 5-6 years, because it's been an incredible effort from her and the team. So that's New Cal. Next slide. Less understandable is in Port Vila in Vanuatu. The releases happened in 2018 and 19, but the data is quite unclear as to whether the impact was from Wolbachia or from natural cycles, and so we would need more information, more data there to understand what's happening in 2025. What is the Wolbachia percentage against where the dengue cases are occurring? Next slide. In Kiribati, as I said, we had a really hard releases. A release phase here. The baseline number of Aedes aegypti in South Tarawa is incredibly high. and we couldn't release enough mosquitoes to get over the top of it. And as such, we only had Wolbachia to establish in Baso and Pairiki, which is about a third of the island of South Tarawa, and that's why we are returning there this year. Is that a question? No. There's also some information here on chikungunya, but it's very difficult to understand if it was Wolbachia that is the reason for chikungunya to decline, or just the natural cycle. Next slide. And the last slide I'll show you is for Fiji. The top one is the Suva releases that happened in 2018-19. Suva is the dark line, and we've got some comparison or some control areas in the dotted lines, and you can see that there is some dengue reduction in Suva compared to those. The bottom panel, panel B, is for Nandi and Lautoka, and again, you can see that there's some dengue reduction. We've been trying to talk to people in Fiji about trying to get more data for these sites, to do another Wolbachia survey and to overlay those results with the dengue outbreaks they've been having over the last few months. So that's Wolbachia suppression in not suppression, sorry, I was thinking from Hervé. Wolbachia replacement that's been happening in the Pacific, and a little short brief on our plans for this year.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Simon. That was a lot of information delivered very efficiently.